a bug. Oh my god. Oh my god, it's a bug! Ew, okay, I'm gonna switch it. Hold on. No, no! Ew, I touched the bug. Ew, I felt it. Ew, okay.
Hi guys, so today we'll be doing something a little bit different than what I normally post. There will be no gaming today, but this is something really cool as well, is making a Minecraft sword. Ta-da! Now it's not the full-size sword that you normally see, especially the foam ones, but these are literally out of wood blocks, like these. Poke, poke. The materials we have here is water bottle to wash our paintbrush with. This one. We need paper, paintbrush obviously. Now you don't want anything that's too thin or too thick. Something about the size of your tiny wood block, which is, let's see, here. So you still want to have control with your paintbrush, but at the same time enough to cover the area and it's not going to take you forever. White paint, oops, silver paint, this is silver sage. I'll come back to this. Black paint and espresso. This is the brown that you will need for 3 blocks near the end of the handle right there. So as you can see, you also need dark gray. So what I did was I just added a tad bit of the black to the silver and it works just as well. You don't have to pay for another paint color. And another thing is wood glue, which I would definitely recommend. It works better than the white glue. I don't know if white glue is going to work that well for the wood, but I'll show you why later on. And whoops, that was my finger, sorry. Anyways, this one. This is not just regular silver paint. As you can see, it's metallics, which I thought worked really well with my paint. At first I was kind of skeptical about it because I wasn't sure how metallic, if the color is going to change that much, but see how it kind of sparkles, it adds that shine to it. Now these wood blocks are 3/8 of an inch. You can definitely buy bigger ones. I just kind of like it small for the swords. Today we're gonna make this sword. It's something that's really neat. It's like a real little dagger. So basically how we're doing this is that you can see it's just one layer of those little blocks that I have somewhere. I'll find them later. And it's just one layer. And as you can see, now I want to explain this before I show you the numbers of how many blocks you need to make, because it might be a little hard to grab at first. So see how these blocks, let's just go for the black ones. This, obviously, each of them you're going to paint the top and the bottom. These, you see, have 2 sides that are painted as well. And just to save paint, I mean, you can always color all 6 sides if you want, but I would like to just kind of save up on the paints because I'm going to make other stuff too. So these you can see is 2 sides, and this one obviously is just 1 side. So basically this is the amount, or this row is how many blocks you will need to make out of the 5 colors. This means there's 2 sides other than top and bottom that needs to be colored. And this means there's only 1 side that needs to be colored. So as you can see for black, you need 17 that's going to be colored on both sides and 10 that's only going to be colored in 1 side. So you add those 2 up, obviously we're still missing 2. Now those 2 are these here. See, they're all 4 sides will not need to be colored. So those are the 2 you just need to keep in mind. Now as for my background, or like where I paint, it's just like a regular, like really thin folder. You can see how thin. And you want something that's kind of flat, because once you color or you paint the blocks, you'll paint the sides as well. And those sides will still be wet. So when you're placing it down like that, see how the sides are touching or that side is touching the table? So if you use any paper material like newspaper or tissue paper and you rest it on those and the paint dries up, what will happen is it'll actually stick to the paper. Even if you yank it out, you rip really slowly, you'll still have little scraps of paper stuck to the sides. So what I like to do is I just get like these. I wanted to get those foam ones, but those were freaking expensive and it's just not worth the money, especially when you know you're gonna get them dirty. These are not gonna be dirtied. Well, they will be, but you can clean them really easily. So what you can do is get cotton pads or tissue paper is fine too. This is a cotton pad. And what you do is you kind of wet it up. You kind of wet it a bit. I don't want to spill anything. Okay, so it's a little damp. And you just, excuse my reach, kind of wipe it like that. So it comes right off. So you can use it a few times, or not a few times. You can use it unlimited times, honestly. As many times as you want on these surfaces. It's not going to stain. It's not going to do anything. So it's really good. It's something that I would recommend. Especially if you don't have a surface that you're willing to get dirty. Anyways, so let's get into it. So this is the palette and wood blocks. So for the time being, I have already poured out or squeezed out the paint. And as you can recall, we had 5 colors. Silver, dark silver, black, white, and brown. So basically what we're missing is the dark silver. So what I've told you before is that I like to save on paint. So where's my paintbrush? It's here. So what I do is I'll mix the black. This is just, it doesn't have to be metallic because this is already metallic. So you can just mix it in. So what you can do is, one way is to kind of just pour it directly in there. I wouldn't recommend this, especially if you don't have a lot of experience, you don't know how much black you want to add in. But another way is to, that's why I would recommend getting like a little dish in the middle, is that you pour some in there, like grab a dab and mix it in. If it's not dark enough, it's not your color, then just add more. If it's too much dark, then you can always just add back more of the silver. So for the silver, I find the color is best when you kind of, let's do this. Ooh, is this too close for you guys? Can't see. I'm trying to look through the camera. So what I always like to do is a thin layer, and I just keep doing it. So you can't really see right now. You can still kind of see the wood color, which is fine because silver, especially because it's metallic, it's a little bit sheer. I would recommend at least 2 to 3 coats. Actually 3, I think, depending on how thick of a layer you put in. If it's something like this thin, I would recommend at least 3 or 4 layers. But they dry really fast. A good way is to kind of look at it under the light. If it's kind of damp looking, then it's not ready yet. When it's completely dry, it'll look kind of matte. So I'll just do one more. What I do is I usually line them up like this.
3, 4, 5. I go in rows of 5. So I don't remember how many silver I needed.
I would have 17 lined up, and I'll go one by one and color. So by the time I'm done my 17th one, my first one is already dry. So I can just go in a cycle and paint it again. So this I would do about 3 to 4. This is already dried. So let's paint this again. Now also when you paint, you want to make sure that there aren't any lumps of the paint, like a really sudden streak of the paint, because it will dry like that, and you don't want that. You want a smooth layer. So then, see, first layer is kind of, you can't really see the wood color anymore. This is 2 layers. So after you're done 3 layers of 17, you want to flip them over because, like I said, after you're done the 17th one, for the 3rd layer or 4th layer, this side will be dry already. So you just paint the other side. This is how you wash it. I just kind of rub it against the sides of the water bottle. Yeah, so dab it. You want to make sure it's dried. Sometimes you go like this. You can still see a little color, so you want to make sure there's no more color. Or you can just wash it again if it's a lot of color. So let's say for something like black, you do this. I would just recommend 1 layer. You don't really need a lot for black because it's so dark in color, obviously because it's black. 1 layer is totally fine. So you see how it's still kind of shiny? Try to catch, okay. See how it's still kind of shiny? Means it's obviously wet because I just painted it. But when it dries up, it won't be. See how maybe I can catch it here. See, it's kind of matte now. It's dried. So that's how you can tell. Brown, I don't have to really go through it. I would recommend about 2 to 3 layers for that, especially if you have a really thin layer. Again, you want to make sure it covers the color of the normal wood blocks. White is very sheer, so you might want to do a couple layers. So you can see this one, I think I've only done 1 layer. You can't really see it on camera. Let's see if I can focus this. See how this is kind of still sheer a bit? So you might want to do about 3 to 4 layers of white. As you can see, my white is, nope, it's not willing to focus. But anyway, it's very dark. It's solid in color, so you can't really see through it. That's I think I did 4 layers for the white, so 3 or 4 depending on how much paint you put for each layer. Now this one I've already colored it a little bit. I mean, I added a little bit black to it already. I will add a tad bit more. For me, I have bigger blocks because I've also made something else. I've ordered the bigger blocks. These are, I think, I believe are 1 inch. These. So what I like to do is like to just sacrifice one, and oops, I colored my finger. I just do that. A tad. Just get a bit on this one of the corners of the block, and I kind of just get the color right. It will dry, like I said. Once it dries, it will be a little bit lighter in color. So I guess it's about the same. After you do about 3 layers of this, it will be darker like this. So just add a tad bit of black to the silver, metallic silver, and you would be good for dark silver.
Color this one as well. If you have too much, you can just grab some back and put it back in your palette. I like it really smooth. See how there's not a lot of ridges?
Now after you've colored all your blocks and you're happy with the color, you can always put them side by side together and kind of do the contrast. See how it's still kind of a little lighter in color? But then this is again just 1 layer of the dark gray, so you can always put 2-3 more layers to make it a little bit more solid, like the color a little bit more solid. Cross stitching paper, and you do this. You can just kind of ignore this handle. The handle is kind of a little bit crooked. It's supposed to be here, but you could just ignore that part. And you can see how obviously 1 square, you can do it for 1 square per each block, but you're just going to be blind by the time you get to here. So what I did was I did a 3 times 3, so 9 blocks as 9 squares as 1 block. So you can just kind of color it differently. You can mark it with any coding you want. Just make sure you know what each color or which kind of symbol is for each color. So you would want to stick them together. It's really simple. You just need a little bit, because these are different than white glue. When it dries, it won't be completely sheer. It won't be transparent, translucent. What's that word? Anyways, you guys get what I mean. So you just put them together. Now, why I recommend wood glue is because, first of all, they stick really well. They don't slide around much if you don't move them. And you make sure, see how on the sides there's a little bit of glue? Make sure you wipe it with your finger, because they will harden and it won't look nice. So there we go. Get the 2 sides, and they're pretty much stuck now. Now, of course, you don't want to throw them around immediately, but by the time you've stuck everything in and you're up to this part, starting from here, of course, they're pretty much dried. So you can do whatever you want with them. You can stab them. I stabbed my boyfriend a few times with this, and, he doesn't mind. It's really cool. So what you want is, like I said, the cross stitch or a picture, at least a picture in front of you for your reference as to how to stick them. Especially, it's not focusing. Especially after looking at these, how they're 2 sides. So as you can see, these will be 2 sides. So you kind of just need to understand this concept, and it'll be a lot easier for you. Ooh, it's not focusing. Focus. There we no. Well, anyways, you guys get the idea. See how these corners will be 2 sides? This one block is just 1 side. So you just kind of stick them up. These are the blocks I was talking about. So you get them in these bags. I think they're different sizes. I did need at least 100, especially if I screwed up. I did screw up a bit, and I think after making the whole thing, I had only a few left. So I would recommend 100 pieces at least. And these are the square blocks, 3 3/8 of an inch. There are bigger ones, which are these. Oops, they're upside down. As you can see, they're huge. So yeah, that's the big blocks which I made the torch out of. You can make the sword out of those 1-inch blocks, but I don't know. I just feel like they're kind of heavy. They do have a certain weight to them. So make sure you put enough wood glue, okay? For sure you would need wood glue if you want to make the sword out of these, and you would need a lot more paint. Another thing is, after you color them, or actually after you stick them together, you will see how like, well, this is just a paint, it's silver paint, but you will see cracks of wood. You'll see them on these edges, like the inside. Whoa, camera falling. So what you need to do is, first of all, either, you know, if save some paint. If you can't, if it dried out, mix it again, and just, it doesn't have to be exactly the same as the outer sides. See how there's like a layer of something? That's the glue. So you would not want to put too much glue. This I already tried to save with more brown paint, but it doesn't really work that way, obviously. So you would want to definitely wipe the glue off. Make sure you put little by little. You don't need too much wood glue to stick the stupid wood together. I'm kind of pissed off after looking at the flaws. But yeah, that's it for today. Make sure you subscribe so you'll see more. Let me know what else you want me to make with these blocks. I still have one bag, as you can see, and one or more than half a bag of these left. So I'll put a link below where you can buy these blocks. They're not too expensive, especially for these tiny ones. The bigger ones are a little bit more expensive than the tiny ones, obviously. But yeah, definitely comment below and let me know what else you want me to make. Let me know what you think about this cute little Minecraft sword. It's awesome. Thanks for watching. Bye, guys. This is so cool. I love doing this.